Hello. Welcome to Gers TV. How are we doing, guys?
All right, mate. Well, I
Just,
tell you what, I'm
I'm saying,
absolutely
guys, just
devastated.
yourself. Hi, just the
Yeah,
both
no,
of
it's
us.
just me today. I'm absolutely devastated. Like after yesterday, I had the hope, and it's the hope that kills you. But yeah, just the way it unfolded, I think, and we'll discuss all of that on this podcast. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it was just one thing after another yesterday, and as soon as Asgard got sent off, you just knew that was it. That was game over. But
Very
yeah,
much.
so just devastated, really.
Aye, I mean, the one thing I don't want to be doing is the smart ass thing. But as you know, we had a wee chat. Well, we done the pre-match Old Firm. You, Gordy, Lewis, and Dylan. I think we're on it. I can't remember. I was out boozing, but we done a trial run with me and yourself to practice it. And I had said at the time, if Asgard plays, we're in real trouble. We're in big trouble. I said it pre-match as well in my chat, and I said it during the game. The guy is far too lightweight to play for Rangers Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest concern with that, to be fair to you, is quite controversial, but I'm not 100% sure if Danny Röhl's picking that team or not yet. And if he is, we've got real trouble here because it means that whoever picked that team underestimated the Celtic team, the Old Firm fixture, and how the game was going to be played. It was always
Mm-hmm.
going to be a lot of war. They were going to kick us off the park, and we weren't up for it.
Yeah.
And has an experience showed with the rightful sending off.
Yeah, yeah. I said the same thing. I mean, when I was doing the pre-match show, and we were looking at our lineups, I didn't have Asgard in there like yourself. I don't think he's. I think he's got ability technically, but I don't think he's got it like up here mentally. To be honest, and physically, I feel like he gets lost in these games where it's really physical and it's more end to end, and
It's
he's
the wrong
maybe
type
not
of
seeing
game
as much of
from.
the ball as he would like.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's just a lost puppy. And I felt that yesterday. The first until he got sent off, you'd hardly seen him. A couple of passes here or there, but I mean, other than that, he wasn't in the game.
In the first half, the full left-hand side, we were bare, and they penetrated that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
any time that we won the ball, we've done nothing up the left at all. So,
No.
I mean, for me, back to what I'm saying about whoever's picking the team, it's a real concern. It's quite a simple question. Who's a better player currently just now, Asgard or Moore?
I
Moore's a
mean,
far
but
better
you
player.
saw the difference yesterday, right? And I
Yeah.
think Moore is someone that's going to really flourish in this new system because he's not a winger. No one can tell me that Moore's a winger. Absolutely not. When you put him out on the touchline, he gets lost. If you put him in the middle of the pitch, the way he can receive the ball and turn and face play and actually drive at the defenders and drive through midfield is exactly what we've been missing, And he'd be. I think he's gonna. His Rangers career is started now that Danny Röhl's come in, and with the
He's
new formation, I feel like he's gonna
the
flourish,
last
but
three.
he needs to play
The last three games
like
has
a
certainly been
striker.
a lot better, but to play Asgard ahead of him is very naive to say the least. Maybe just because he's a new manager, but I really question whoever picked that team because it was far too lightweight,
Yeah.
non-existent on the left-hand side. And if I'm being honest, for 45 minutes, Celtic totally dominated the game. They looked faster,
Mm-hmm.
they looked hungrier, they looked far better set up. You need to remember, people were mocking Martin O'Neill's age. However, he's been in charge of loads and loads of Firm games in the past. He's an experienced manager. He's been to a European
Mm-hmm.
final. They can underestimate him. We can laugh if they want, but if you're going to be honest, he's a good manager.
He is.
He knows the fixture, and he set it up for Celtic. He set his team up to suit Celtic, and we set our team up to combat Celtic, and that was the biggest problem. We should have set up the way we'd set up against Hibs and
Yeah,
Kilmarnock.
but you can't have no pace in forward line if you're playing Asgard, Schmidt, and Danilo. Where's the outball? How are we getting in behind them? You're either waiting for Magoma or you're waiting for Tavernier to get up with play, but it just slows everything down. So they could push higher up the pitch,
Yeah.
which is what they did, and they'd win that battle in midfield every time. We
Every
needed to push ourselves up the pitch, and we couldn't do that because there was no one running in behind. Everyone
every
was
t-
on their feet.
every time the ball went out of play, Celtic, they threw it back in or took the free kick immediately because
Yeah,
they knew they could catch us off guard. How did they know that? Because
yeah.
every club that's played against us catches us off guard.
It's our
Even
reaction though.
the offside goal that I think it was offside, but only because of the new rules. However, if it was the other way about, I wouldn't be too happy about it.
No,
But that was just a quick free kick. How many times that happened? You have to look at Europe a couple of weeks ago. It's happening all the time. It's the same guys that are at fault. It's the same rookie mistakes and the big long ball into our defence. That's another one that Celtic constantly and it worked. They've done their homework.
But look at Diamande though. As soon as that free kick gets given, he's like not even looking at the play. He's slowly like turning around and looking away and stuff. And it's like just face the play and try and stop a quick pass, which he didn't do. You know, so we got away with one there. But it's
the thing with that as well, you can only put a team out. Once you put a team out, you can't coach them when they're on the park.
No,
you can't change habits like that. But that's pathetic. That's why we're losing goals. We're losing silly goals. It's no good. They're not always good goals we're losing.
But if you look at the first goal that we conceded as well, you know, from the corner, how big is our team? How big and physical are they? And it's like, you know, there's no one marking Johnny Kenny from the corner, and he stepped up to that near post, and it was a great header, you know. And I said this on the WhatsApp group, right? Look at Johnny Kenny, right? They got him from I don't know how much they spent on him, but from Sligo Rovers, whatever they're called, and like what it would have been peanuts, right? And he's already making a bigger impact for them than Schmidt is for us. Similar age, I think Johnny Kenny's 22, Schmidt's 21, but he just looks far more comfortable in this league with, you know, and playing against these type of players. Whereas Schmidt, I mean, I really struggle to understand like how he's a footballer first and foremost, and let alone playing for a club like ours. It's just baffling. He's not doing anything. You know, I feel like he's a big physical lad, but he doesn't hold the ball up well enough, not linking the play well enough, can't finish, right? Like if in an Old Firm game, and especially his price tag is always going to get mentioned, right? But you've got to make an impact. And the two chances that he had, the one with the lovely through ball, and that 1-on-1 that he missed, and then the one at the back post as well. You've absolutely got to score those if you play for this club.
It's criminal that the goalkeeper didn't have to make a save of him. He put him by the post.
Make the keeper
I don't want to repeat myself, but I just felt as if some of our support were happy to see Dessers go. I'll put it that way. They were happy to see a guy that would have put one of the chances away. He would have probably missed a couple of sitters, but he would have certainly scored one of the two. He's a far better striker than Chermeti, and I mean far better, a different league to Chermeti.
Yeah,
and the price tag,
not even comparable. You know,
I do keep saying this. I feel sorry for him, right, in one way, and I do keep saying it, but I'll stand by it. Every time you talk about Chermeti, the price tag's going to be mentioned. It's as simple as that.
And that's just a fact.
He's not worth a quarter of that.
But it just, honestly, it almost feels like Schmidt's got some billionaire parents who's just chucking Kevin Thirlwell some cash in hand to try and get him transfers around different clubs in Europe when he can't actually play football. That's what it feels like.
Or something more sinister.
Yeah, but it's just, I can't for the life of me see it. And when I did the starting 11, my prediction, I had the Gasman and I had Miovski up there. And I feel like, you know, I'm not a football manager, but I feel like that should have been the team. And it's those two players, Schmidt and Asgard, where Danny Röhl got it wrong. But he's learning. He's only been in a week or so, you know, just over a week and a half now. You know, so he's going to learn a lot about these players over the next coming games, and I do not expect to see Schmidt start in midweek again at home to Roma. Absolutely not. You know, he cannot start these games. You know, especially against teams that are going to be coming forward at us. You need some runners in behind. You need that pace in behind. So you need to have the likes of Gasman playing. You know, people actually that can stretch defenses. You know, and create gaps.
In terms of the selection for Thursday night, nothing would surprise me the way the seasons went with the players. Unfortunately, nothing would surprise me if he did start. I just don't see how he can make it as a Rangers player now. It's still early doors, but the fans are getting really, really frustrated with him. He's missing open goals. He doesn't seem to be creating a lot. He's probably, if they came in as a loan player, he would probably get a bit of time, and people would say he's a young boy, he's just not good at it now. But he's not came in as a lone player.
No, and the problem is now we've got two strikers, right? In Schmidt and Miovski. I'm not counting Danila because I think he's going to be playing more as that sort of one of the 10s and whatnot. But you've got Miovski and Schmidt. You've paid big money for Schmidt, but if he's not going to cut it, we need to get someone else in that can do the job and that can challenge Miovski for that number one spot. But where do we go from here with Schmidt then? Because do we send him out on loan for a year and bring in another striker, and then sell Miovski
let me answer.
And then Schmidt can replace Miovski in the team eventually?
So let me answer that then. Let me answer that. So First of all, where do we go for here? That means that there's two quick answers to that question. First of all, where do we go? Who's going to, if we're going to get rid of Shermate or replace him, who's going to do it? Thelwell. So that's the first problem. Thelwell's a major problem at our club, and if he's replacing basically a donkey for a donkey, then that's no good. Until we get somebody that actually understands the job and doing it fairly, because employing your son and employing your pals, the guy for Wales last week, and employing people that used to play for your old club that you probably support isn't professional. They need to get the right guy in, and I've no doubt Danny Röhl will be able to see this quite quickly, and the chairman coaches he's got there. But in terms of replacing Shermate, yes, they need to replace him. They can't date to January, but who's going to replace him? Because we have a major problem with Thelwell at our club.
Yeah, but that's it. Like who's going to be the one making signings? In January when we need another left back, and we need probably another centre back as well, and another forward player. Who's going to be replacing? Who's going to be buying them? It's going to be Kevin Thelwell. So, and he's going to be one, and his son, right, Robbie Thelwell. It's going to be them two, and some of the scouts and whatnot coming together to create a list of players to then put to Danny Röhl. But it's like the players that they're going to be bringing to Danny Röhl are just not going to be of the right quality. I have absolutely no faith in Kevin Thelwell being able to, and his son and whoever else he's bringing into the club, to be of the right standards and quality. And that is my biggest worry, because it almost feels like we're doomed either way, because we're wasting money, 8 million on Shermate, 3.5 million on a defender that's not playing. How much money, we've got Asgard, who doesn't seem up to it physically for this league. How much do we spend on him? Was that another 3.5 million, 4 million? So how much money have we wasted in this summer transfer window? Because at the minute, it feels like Danny Röhl is getting the maximum out of this team. If you look at that second half performance, Danny Röhl would have been in the changing room at halftime giving them a bollocking, right? And you see them come out in that second half, and the performance that they put in with 10 men, where we could have even won it in the 90 with the 10 men, by the way. He's getting the absolute maximum, but he's not being helped by players that just aren't good enough.
We played better and we looked better with 10 men.
We did.
Asgard added nothing to the team, added nothing to the left-hand side.
Nothing.
And the boy Magoma struggles when he's on his own. He needs somebody up that wing with him. He needs a through ball to play it to. He had no options for most of the game.
There was nothing there. There was absolutely nothing there. There was no outcome.
The first 45 minutes, we had no threat whatsoever.
No.
And yet we still missed two shots. Was it two chances in the first or three?
There was a few. There was a Raskin 1-on-1. I think Danilo played into. I think that was first half. Then you had the Shermate chance. Then you had the two Shermate chances. So we did have opportunities in that first half, and we didn't play well.
And that is the biggest problem.
Opportunities.
We did, however, Celtic had a lot of good chances as well in the game, but that's our main problem. We've spoken about the defence for long enough, but those chances were sitters. Every one of them was a sitter. And we never looked like scoring with any of them. And that's the difference with winners and losers. We found a way to miss 3-4 opportunities in the first half. If we'd have scored 3 of them, and the way we were playing, if we'd scored 3 or 4 goals with that kind of form, we'd have been into the second half so much more confident.
We would have won. We would have won that game yesterday if it was 11v11, in my opinion. If you take Asgard off at half time, for example, and you bring the gas man on, and it's 11v11, we win that game. The way they were playing in that second half and the way we came out in that second half. So it goes back, and there's comments here coming in, like Stuart Campbell saying this can't go on with the ref. I think they need to use Spanish refs, etc. And from Alex Kelly as well, come on side, get torn into these corrupt match officials tonight. Like these officials, right? Yeah. They were quick to send Asgard off and make it 11v10. But when Trusty is booting Butland in the face completely, after the ball was already lost, how is that not a red card? I don't understand the consistency. If you're going to send Asgard off, and
the second thing about this, the second thing about what we're going to talk about now, the referees, is we spoke about it last week. Every Rangers platform spoke about it, commented on it. When you saw the backroom and Walsh being the official, when you saw the people involved, Frank Connor, who his punishment last year was to get the next Old Firm game, or was it a final? Can't remember. But these guys are not getting punished; they're getting looked after. It's quite simple. If that's sending off that never happened in the last minute of the game, basically when he kicked Butland on the face. Couple of things with that. First of all, the whole Rangers team should have been surrounding the referee going off the park at half time. They left Butland to sell. The difference with Rangers and Celtic are they would have surrounded the referee.
Yeah.
By the time the teams came out in the second half, they would have the referee told that's not happening with our club. They wouldn't have allowed it. But our club are ran by shitebags, utter shitebags. Now, Willie Collins having a meeting with Patrick Stewart regarding this incident and the other controversial incident. Let's be quite frank here. Nothing's going to happen with that. No. Patrick Stewart is a coward. So that's the problem I've got there. Was it a sending off? Everyone knows it was a sending off. Every major official saying it's a sending off. Every major commentator. Neil Lennon saying it's a sending off.
So it tells you all you need to know. Every single person saying it's a sending off. But we need to hold them accountable. We need to be making, a video, what do you call it, montage or whatever, of all of the incidents that's happened in recent seasons, all of the things that have gone against us in big moments, and distribute that for everyone to see and highlight just how inept the officials are in this league. And this is what we have to deal with. There's no,
the officials are terrified because Celtic
are playing these games with hands tied behind our back, fighting not just against an opposition that do have a team of quality players as well, and players like Callum McGregor who have that experience. So it's a hard enough task as it is, let alone when they've got the 12th man every single time.
Aye, so there's two parts to that. It's not just Rangers has been affected, but it's other clubs have been affected by these crazy controversial decisions that always benefit Celtic. This goes way back to when they forced the refereeing strike. They've been running Scottish football for many years. There's no impartiality whatsoever in it. However, they know they can get away with it. And until Rangers have a real case, good point you made there, a montage. What are the Rangers backroom staff doing? What are the PR department doing? Why are they not highlighting this? There was a campaign of lies a couple of years ago, penalty to Rangers. You remember that? They were allowed to talk about it at their AGM. The reason they do that is because they know that if they push the pressure, the referees will fold. Now, the VR team are even worse because they've got plenty of time to look at that. It's a clear kick in the head. To say the force is the level of where he sent off or no is out and out utter bollocks. Let's be frank, you can't kick somebody in the head. It's a game of football.
And it was so late as well. Like the ball was gone. Like he did that deliberate. It's a deliberate act. To kick Butland in the head. And
the guy that done it then gets awarded the man of the match. You know what I mean? You couldn't make this up. It wouldn't be allowed in any other league in the world, bar our league.
It's honestly, it's an absolute disgrace, and we need to do something about it. We need to take a leaf out of Real Madrid's book because they've gone to I think it's gone to UEFA or FIFA or whoever to say this is what's happening in our league. You need to do something about it, basically, and we need to do something. We need to make sure these referees are being held accountable. If they're making blatant errors like they are, they need to be punished, and they're not being punished. They're getting away with it.
You have to look at last year. Celtic were handed the League Cup last year. It's happening time and time again by the same people, by the same mistakes, honest mistakes, and then you get a pathetic apology at the end of it.
And then the officials are still in charge of more big games. Absolutely zero accountability, and nothing's going to change unless we force change as a club.
As far as Celtic and the FA are concerned, it's all finished with. It's move on. It's just unlucky it was only Rangers. Now, you have to look at European football. Celtic are away at midweek, Rangers are at home. It wouldn't surprise me if Celtic get a man sent off. Why? You saw the performance that they had at the weekend. Something like 26 or 29 fouls they had. The boys at Maeda, I think it was him, had about 10 fouls in the first half and never get booked. This happens in Europe, they get sent off. In Scottish football, they get let off with it because there's nobody there to challenge them. No. And until we start challenging this will keep going. Don't think this will end, this will keep happening.
I know. I can't remember the exact stat, but I saw something about them having like 4 red cards in the last 21 European games, but they've gone over 70 domestic games now without seeing a red card.
I'm not afraid to get tore into. I know Alex has said that. I'm not afraid to get tore into the referees and the VAR team. I just think there's a wee bit more to it with that as well, with the rest of the game we should talk about. But let's talk about the other penalty and the sending off as well whilst we're here. A few people saying it's a soft one because it's a handball and he's falling. He doesn't mean to use his hand. The laws of the game are there for a reason. It's a penalty. It's a penalty all day long, and he stops the ball from looks like getting into the net with his hand.
It's literally going right into that bottom corner,
And so he's on a booking, so it's a sending off again. In no other cup or a cup tie or any other region in the world does that not happen. But they're so terrified of Celtic, they can't wait to move it on. Nothing to see here. It's an absolute disgrace.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a penalty, and that's the end of it. You know, like you say, you know, it's in the laws of the game. You know, he's going, my hands like this, but he's leaning down, and his elbow is leaning below his chest, blocking the ball. You know, so he's blocking it with a part of his body that's below the sleeve. You know, and it's not, you know, when you're standing there and a cross comes in and it hits you like so, you're not making yourself bigger because your arms are within your body. But when you're lying down and your elbow's hanging low and you can clearly see the ball is going into that bottom corner, then you're making yourself bigger and stopping the goal scoring opportunity. And he should have been booked. Why? If that's a penalty, it's a yellow card at least, and then
it's all or nothing with the two of them. Yeah.
So again, another opportunity where they had to send a player off, and he didn't get sent off. We scored that penalty as we did. James South scored it. Beautiful penalty. They go down to 10 men. Again, we will win that game. I have full belief that we go and win that game because we could have won it near the end as well when we still had there was an opportunity where the Gasman nearly nicked it off, and it might have been Liam Scales or Trusty or whoever it was.
That's right,
you know, but if it was 10 against 10 at that moment, we would have been in the ascendancy and we would have had all the momentum for us to go on and win the game. So again, massive opportunity there for them to do what's right and to make it an even game. And again, quick with Asgard to send them off, but hesitant on the other two. Why is that?
Now, I don't want to be Danny Röhl bashing here, so this isn't a dig at the manager. I'm just going to quote what he said. When they asked him about the two incidents, that's not my position, that's not my job to comment on it. So whose job at Rangers is it? Because somebody has to grow a set of balls and fight this. And this is the problem. Yeah. Another manager that's been told before it all happens, it's happening to them all, they're being told by the backroom staff, don't comment on referees. Do you think for a minute Martin O'Neill would have stood back and let that happen with his team if it was the other way about?
And I think it's very much a modern day manager's stance because, you know, you look at what Jose Mourinho would do, for example, he would be out there straight away and you know, effing and blinding and you know, giving it to them. But Danny Röhl will know what will happen if he does, right? He will know he'll probably get a suspension for speaking out of turn, and then he won't be on the touchline to help the team. So he's thinking of, my focus right now is not about this, whatever happens, you know, I can't change that. It's about, because he's got bigger things, bigger fish to fry right now, which is getting this team operating functionally and making us a better footballing team moving forward.
That's a fair enough comment, Jay, right? But you could also argue here, now I know we get beat with Queen's Park and that was the end of Clermont, but Clermont was effectively cheated out of 2 cups by these people. So that could eventually cost this manager a job as well.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to speak out and call it out when it's there. It's a glaring obvious issue what happened.
Yeah, I think he probably has gone a bit soft in that approach, and there is an in between where he can make sure that he is not happy with the decisions that are made and that he's publicly saying it without saying it in a way to get himself suspended. But it definitely has to be a Kevin Thurwell, Patrick Stewart. They have to be doing this both publicly and behind the scenes and putting constant pressure on the SFA. It has to be put on, you know. Every mistake that is made has to be, you know, you have to be on them straight away. Like I said, create a montage of all these mistakes that are happening, make it go public, you know, bring it to people, you know, to UEFA, to FIFA, say this is a standard of refereeing in Scotland and really put pressure on them because...
And the thing about it, see the montage you're talking about, it wouldn't be hard to do.
No, it wouldn't be hard to do. I mean, how many data analysts and stuff do you have at the club that create videos and stuff of the opposition and how they're playing and how we can then set up to beat them, etc. They do this a thing that happens before every game. So we should be also creating, you know, a montage of all of these errors that are happening and sending that to the right people so that we can actually force change. Because at the minute, we're not doing any of that. We're just saying, oh, we're disappointed, or, you know, we need to get a review of this and why this happened. But are you really doing enough to force change? Because it's happening time and time and time again. Before this game, we're thinking, please just let's have a game where the referee has not made a massive error, which if we get beaten this game fair and square and they're just miles better than us, then you have to hold your hands up and say, you know, we need to improve. It's down to the players. But the referee has yet again, and not just the referee, the assistants and the VAR have yet again become one of the you know, potentially the sole focus after a massive game like this.
The only person that's ever called this out publicly is John Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And you heard at the time, Rangers TV was telling him, you can't say that. And he went, well, I'm saying it. And the reason he's saying it is because he knew he was right.
And we all know he's right. And
everyone
that's
knows he's right.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows he's right, but again, we're still talking about this months later, and I worry that it's going to affect more games this season. If we play them again at Hampden in the Scottish Cup semi-final or final or whatever, I feel like, I don't trust these referees to get it right. I don't trust that. I'm not going to be sat here speaking to you on the day after and not just absolutely livid with them, because fans pay so much money to go and follow their team. We need a fair game. And at the minute, we're not getting that. There's absolutely no consistency, but it's no consistency in one direction.
Yeah, No, I agree with you 100%. I've been ranting and raving all day yesterday about it, but the club, ultimately, somebody at the club has to come out all guns blazing, fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think Patrick Stewart will do that?
No.
Very doubtful. Do I think him they'll do it publicly? Doubtful. Do I think there'll be any campaign about Celtic players not getting sent off in the last 2 years? That won't happen. Nothing's going to happen until somebody at the club grows a set of balls.
Yeah. But I've been on here many times and said Kevin Thayer and Patrick Stewart need to leave because they don't have the balls required to lead this club, and to put pressure on the SFA. They're just weak men, and I can't stand them. So, but now we've also missed the opportunity on getting Kevin Thayer's replacement. You had David Weir there ready to go pretty much. And now he's gone to Strasbourg, I think, as their director of football, and it's like, what are we doing? And that's a big worry for me. I'm hoping Andrew Kavanagh is seeing what is going on. I know he's come out publicly back them when he came over, obviously when we were searching for a new manager, but he has got to see what is going on with these two clowns at this football club. And I don't have the confidence that things are going to change anytime soon because of them two. I really wish, and I hope that I'm proved wrong, but I feel like if we achieve anything this season, it's going to be to the brilliance of Danny Röhl and.
Well, just lastly on that, what will happen is if Rangers don't have something out by tonight, tomorrow will be the build-up for the European tie. Then at the weekend, it's internationals. That's right, innit? It's internationals at the weekend.
Yeah, we've got Dundee away, and then internationals.
Dundee away. Then it'll be and at the weekend it'll be Dundee away. That'll be the spotlight, but after that, it's internationals, and the conversation's over. By the time Rangers get the apology, by the time they accept it, it's happened again. It's another honest mistake by the same people. It's already finished. Now, the difference with Rangers and Celtic is Celtic would be hammering this tonight. They'd have hammered it all day yesterday. It'd have been all over the news, all over the papers, and it wouldn't stop until they got some kind of proper answers. Yeah. Rangers won't do that. Patrick Stewart's going to meet... who does he he's going to meet again? I forgot who it was now. He's meeting anyway. Nothing's going to happen. Literally, I hope I'm wrong with that, but we need fighters at the club, and none of them are fighters.
No, I know. And we've said this, pretty much from the very start, just they have made so many errors already in their time at the club that they're just going to keep making errors. Patrick Stewart, when he first came in and then attacked the fans after the Old Firm, he gave that interview publicly backing Philippe Clement, and then only to then sack him not long after that. You got Kevin Thayer doing the exact same thing with Russell Martin, only to sack him a month later. It's just so many errors that these two idiots are making.
Let me go back to what you started with, RJ, because it's really important. Patrick Stewart attacked Union Bears, attacked the support, the Union Bears, whatever you want to say. Half an hour after the game, I think it was. See what I'm saying? Now, this instance happened now. It's over 24 hours, and we've still no Rangers coming out and calling it out as it is. He couldn't wait to have a go at Rangers supporters, and then he was rang. There was a tiny apology. He was fast enough then to move, but he's not wanting to move his arse with this man. Do you know why? Because he's terrified of the backlash of Celtic. The man's a coward.
He just doesn't want to get involved in it. You can clearly tell he doesn't want to get involved in a war of words or to create any
because he'll lose. He'll lose. He's not got the fight in him.
No, he's not at all. And you can see that though, you see him when the whole Danny Röhl unveiling, and he just sat there, just not looking the part at all, and it's you're thinking you are the CEO of Glasgow Rangers Football Club, and like you don't act like it, you don't look like it, you don't present yourself as that, or as what a CEO of Glasgow Rangers Football Club should look like. should be able to present themselves as a leader, and someone that the rest of the club, the sporting director, etc., look up to and want to follow and follow in their footsteps, etc. But he's just not that person for us. But he's not going to leave anytime soon, is he? So, so what do we do? Just have to keep. But this is the thing, and I said this on the WhatsApp group yesterday. I feel like we still need to, as a fan base, put the pressure on Patrick Stewart and on Kevin Thirlwell. With chants during the game, banners, etc. That they still understand that they are not welcome at this club. Because they're not welcome at this club. And
I agree with that. I don't think it's ever going to change. The support have made their mind up. I'm one of them. They're not going to change their mind with the two of them.
No.
Right, moving on.
Should we go to the player ratings?
Aye, let's go through them quite quickly.
Right. Yes. Okay. First one then, Big Jack Butland. Do you know what? He's our best player this season.
I thought he had a great game. However, he was completely out of position for the McGregor goal. It was a great strike. All credit where due. It was a great strike from McGregor, but it's a free shot at goal, and the goalkeeper's not in the middle of the goal. So Butland was at fault for that, but I thought he had some great saves as well. And a lot of that's to do with the fact that I don't think he's too comfortable with the defence in front of him.
Yeah, but the defence keeps changing, but to be fair, they did look nervous, and we'll come on to it when we speak about some of the others. But like Giga and stuff, like he started the game just
terrified.
He was just all over the shop. So yes, that doesn't help, but he did make a lot of saves. So I don't want to say except that he made it. He made a mistake because he really should have saved that. But we wouldn't even got to that stage if he didn't make some vital saves in the 90s. So I can sort of let him off for that one. So to be fair, I'm going to give Big Jack Butland still an 8 out of 10 because we would have been long gone if it wasn't for him before that incident.
I would say that's probably a fair rating, aye.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Right. Next one then, we'll go Big John Souttar. What are you thinking?
I thought he had an average game. It wasn't his best game in a Rangers jersey. He certainly gave it his all, but it just seemed to be the whole defence seemed to be all over the place. Bar Tav, I thought Tavernier was the only one that kind of looked relaxed. I didn't think he had a great game. I don't think he had a too bad a game either. I don't think the formation suited him at all.
No, it's one of those. I felt like he was okay, not spectacular. Sometimes he would go in for to put a tackle in or something quite high up the pitch, and then get rolled by Johnny Kenny, and then they were on the break and against pretty much 2-on-2 against Souttar and Cornelius, Giga and Cornelius. So I feel like sometimes he went in a bit too aggressively when he didn't need to, and lost that battle with Johnny Kenny a couple of times.
But also, we need somebody, and I don't know who, with that current defence, but we need somebody who's going to be a bit like Marvin Andrews used to do. Davy Weir done it. Big Goff obviously was a great at it. Somebody that's going to say, this is my defence, this is my area. Anybody that's in the way is going to get wiped out once I've won the ball with my power.
Yeah.
But we don't have anything like that. We're just, every one of the defenders are all right. They're just all right players. None of them are great.
No, but when it comes to John Souttar, I think there's a role in the team for him, but I don't think he should be a starter. I feel like he'd be a great squad player for us, But he's starting every game.
Well, I don't think any of the players will be Rangers defenders. I don't know any of them at all. Possibly a small chance Cornelius, but I don't think anyone else will be a Rangers defender next year.
Yeah, potentially not. I kind of feel like they will give Souttar an extension. Because it's keeping a bit of consistency at the back because we've got a lot of work to do, and he's obviously a homegrown player as well, which helps for the European quota that he needs to have. So I reckon he'll definitely get an extension. Whether he deserves it or not is another question with his performances. But if we don't extend John Souttar, we have to then get in another player, but then it's like, well, they don't know the club. Will they know the league? Potentially not the way,
I think they need to start doing this in January. Players. I think in January we need to start getting the defence ready for next year.
We definitely need to make signings in that department in January for sure. But as a rating, I'll probably give John Souttar an average 5. To be honest,
6. I'll go 6.
You go 6. You're being more generous. Okay. So we'll say combined 5.5. Right. Next one then. Should we go to Jigger? Thoughts?
He's good at tackling. I'll say that for him. He's good at tackling in dangerous situations. But in terms of nerves, he's a bag of nerves. I don't know why. But he's a bag. And I'll tell you what,
some of the things he was doing.
It made me and the boy beside me watching a football a bag of nerves every time he was near the ball.
I know.
That's not
but
good
then
enough.
He does other things really well. Like there was a moment in the, I think it might have been the second half where they were on a break. I can't remember who it was it Tsinecki or someone like that? And he ran like the full length of the pitch and put a tackle in and won a free kick. So there's moments where he does really well, but then there's other moments and you're like, what on earth is this? Like it looks like he's never been on a football pitch before. You know, like
at times I think there's a lot of potential in him.
And it just looked like it went under his foot. And then
I get to at times where I think he's so much potential, but when he's got time to think about it, he can be a real nightmare.
I know.
I'd probably give him a 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 5 as well. To be honest, yeah, not great, and I do worry about him moving forward as well. To be honest, but you know, do we send him back in January, Jigger? Do we send him back in January, or
if you're going to do that, if you're going to do that, you probably have to start playing Fernandes, and I don't know if he's good enough. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Tellwell's put us in the shit.
I feel like he needs game time there, Fernandes, so we can actually see if he's good enough or not.
Yeah,
you know, but he's not getting that game time, and I can't see him getting it at the minute. I hope I'm wrong though, because I do want to see what he's made of, you know, and if he's actually going to be of the right quality. But it's hard to tell when he's coming on for like 2 or 3 minutes at the end, like he did against Hibs. Right, moving on then. Let's go to Cornelius. Thoughts on Cornelius?
I think on his game, he's probably him and Tav are best defenders, but Tav's getting old basically. I would say on his game, he's probably the best defender and the most reliable, but he should be taking more set pieces and he's not been allowed to. But in terms of his game at the weekend, I thought he was kind of average. I thought another one that looked a bit nervous. They all seem to be all over the place. Celtic ran them ragged in the first half. I was disappointed in him, to be honest. Made a couple of good challenges right enough, but he was also lucky. I think it was a booking that he got, and I think it was quite rightly so, but he could have been sent off for a tackle in the game as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember when he did it, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you jumping in like that? You know?
If I'm trying to be honest with it, I haven't seen the challenge again. I've only saw the photographs. The challenge on the pictures, it could go either way, if I'm being honest.
It's one of those where you slow it down, it looks really bad, but because I think there wasn't like the force involved in order to really, you know, to cement that red card. But when you're going in like studs up like that on the ankle and stuff, like it's so easy for them to use that as an excuse to send them off. So, you know, I think he definitely got away with one there.
But he's the most promising defender at the club now in terms of going forward in the next couple of months. He's the one player that does look dangerous up front and he can win a ball in the defence. So I'll give him a 6.
I was going to say the same. I think he's our best defender at the minute. You know, and he's always a threat. You know, in the opposition box. So yeah, I'll give him a 6 as well. So let's stick to the left hand side and we'll go with Magoma. What are your thoughts on Magoma?
I think it's going to be quite unfair what I'm saying about him here. I thought it was at times he's like Bambi and Ice. Sometimes I think he's absolutely terrified. He's lost. He doesn't know where to go. But part of the blame for that was the fact that, as I stated earlier on, we had nothing on the left-hand side for the first 50 minutes of the game, maybe 60, where there was no options for him to play the ball. He was constantly trying to play the ball up to the left wing area, and it was completely dormant. So he struggled there. I wouldn't blame him for that. I just think I thought the team selection was completely wrong, and that affected him. He's still a young boy. He's got a good cross on him. I'll definitely say that. But it wasn't his best game, and Celtic tried to channel everything down that corner because of it.
Yeah, and we all know that he's not the best defensively, but that's why you need to have someone on that left-hand side that's going to help you out.
To cover him. Yeah.
You know, you need Cornelius to cover him, or you'd need someone to help come track back, like the gas man or something. You know, if he goes forward, you want him to sort of potentially tuck in or you know, fight hard to get back and put a tackle in when you've left that space open. But when you've got Asgard there, he's not going to do that. You know, he's gonna let the player run right past him, and he'll wait for. He's one of those players that just wants to be involved in the game when he's around the.
When I mentioned the 50-minute kind of mark or whatever, if you look at later on in the game when Moore played, the boy McGoma was a far better player because he had so many options and outfield passes to make. Because Moore is what you would call a pain in the arse. He's up and down the park and he makes himself clear into positions. And the last few weeks his runs have been phenomenal, and that makes the boys' game a lot easier. So I'll give him a 6. I don't think he had the worst game, but it wasn't his best.
No, I'm the same. I'll give him a 6, to be honest. I feel like there's, especially in that left wing back spot, there's huge potential for this guy. I just wish, and I've said this before, I just wish he was ours so that we could work with him, because I feel like there's a lot of potential there. But the fact that he's just here on a straight loan and going back to Brentford in the summer is just, it seems a bit pointless, and that's why I really feel like we need another left back in January that's going to be ours, that we can work with moving forward, and then he can play a bit part role for the rest of the season. But in terms of the game yesterday, I'll give him a 6 as well. Right, moving on to James Tav then. Thoughts?
I thought Tavernier was Rangers' best player. I thought he was outstanding. He made a couple of tackles that were quite rash, but it's just into passion and trying to cover the defence that he's trying to look after. He played like a leader, I thought. You can see that how much he cares about the club, and I know that the fans get angry with him, so they are. He's taking corners, he's taking long throw-ins, he's taking the free kicks. He's probably doing too much, but I thought he had a great game, and I thought he gave his all. And I would say I'd give him a 9 for yesterday.
You give him a 9? Yeah. I thought he played well yesterday, Tav, and especially coming up, obviously taking that penalty, huge pressure on that penalty, and he dispatched it really, really well into the bottom corner. And I felt like if we were going to create something, it would have been through James Tav, to be honest. So played really well. But I honestly, he scored so many goals for us like over the years, and he's been a consistent performer. I just feel I'm gutted that he's not won anywhere near enough for the club. If you think of his contributions and how many goals he scored, etc., and how important he has been for us. And this is just another one that has just passed him by, and he must be thinking what is going on here? Like,
well, you could see in the press conference that he wanted to say his opinion on the sending offs, but he was held back. I don't know again if they're told to be the dignified silence or what, but you could hear him hinting at, and you could hear the heart in his voice.
Yeah, I know, and they probably are. I mean, they're all media trained and stuff, and they probably think, well, what's the point? It's not going to change anything, so they might just not even bother getting themselves into a pickle over it. But yeah, I do feel for him, and I hope we, we're 11 points behind in the league. We still got the Scottish Cup to come, so potentially, and I want us to focus. I don't want this game and this result to really knock our confidence and stuff, because we did play really well with 10 men in the second half, and hopefully we can still continue to build on that and build some momentum, so there can be silverware still at the end of the season. Because there's still things to fight for, and I hope we can. I would love nothing more than to see him lift another trophy for the club, especially the league title. If we can get him another league title before he goes, that would be unreal. But there's still a long way to go for that, and like you say, we're 11 points behind in the league at the minute. But there's nothing that I saw from the other mob yesterday that worries me. If we were 11v11, I think it would be a different game. But hey ho, so yeah, I won't go as strong as a 9. I'll probably go an 8 for him, to be honest. Right, so moving on to Nico Raskin. Thoughts?
I thought he had a really good game. Because of the system, there wasn't much help in the midfield for him, and he's not been the same player this season. I don't think he's not showed the same signs of his ability. I'm not sure if he'll be at the club much longer than this season, if I'm being honest. But I thought he got tore in. He gave it his all. I was quite disappointed to get took off at was it on 90 minutes they took him off for the extra time?
Yeah, they did. I think it might have been the fact that he was on a booking.
He was on a booking, and he missed a sitter. You can't take that away either. He missed an absolute sitter that he should have scored.
Yeah.
But in terms of fight, I thought he gave a lot of fight. Gave it his all. I'd probably give him a 6 or a 7. I'll go 6. I don't think it was his best game. It wasn't his worst game, but it certainly through. It certainly gave it his all.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Go with a 6. He hasn't been the same player as he was last season, but I feel like there are factors surrounding that. I feel like he's had a bit of a tough start to his campaign, with obviously falling out with Russell Martin and everything that sort of, and the negativity around that, and not playing games and stuff. So he could be getting back up to fitness really, and trying to get back to his best form, because we really didn't make the most of him being on form towards the end of last season and being our best player, and then just completely changing the way he plays this season. It's not helped him whatsoever. So yeah, tough one. It's not been the same player, but still he puts a shift in, gets himself involved, and I feel like he's got that, and you can see he's got that aggression and that passion and that desire that you need when things don't go his way. You can see his like blood boil, and he does. He's one of those that does give it to them and does give it to the ref, and I like that about him. You can see he cares, and when things don't go well, you can see he actually feels the pain that the fans feel. So I really want him to stay longer, but if he's not going to sign a new deal, he's going to be gone in the summer, because we're going to need to get some money out of him. So yeah, but I'll give him a 6 out of 10 for his performances yesterday. Okay, moving on to his midfield partner then in Diomande. What are your thoughts?
I thought he was pretty average. He looked as if he wasn't fully fit, to be honest. I mean, he was over the park. He gave it his best again. It's just I don't think he was really, in an ideal world, and it isn't an ideal world we live in. It would have been Barron playing, but Barron was suspended, and I'm not sure if he was fully fit. I don't think he had a great game, to be fair. I don't think it was one of his better games.
No, I sort of felt that as well. Like, I didn't really feel like he had much of an impact at all. Like he was sort of a bystander for the most part. Yeah, and I didn't feel like he got involved as he should have done. Especially when someone like Moore comes on and you really notice he was on the pitch. I just didn't really notice Diomande at all.
I gave him a 5.
The game passed him by. And yeah, I think I would agree with that. I'd give him a 5 as well, because you really want players, and he's got the quality, and you want players that have the ability that he has to make an impact. And I feel like sometimes in these games where it is tough, just a bit like Asgard, when things get tough, he goes missing. When you want him to stand up. So yeah, I would agree with that. We'll go with a 5 for Diomande. And then I've got more up, but I'm not going to go to more yet. I'm going to go to Asgard. Asgard. What do you think?
Too lightweight. Didn't suit the formation. Didn't make enough runs. I wouldn't doubt him for trying. I think he was trying. I think he was trying too hard for the sending off. I think it was harsh, the sending off, and on the basis that I don't think he was aggressive, but it was a sending off no matter what, because he let the height of his feet. It was naive more than anything. Definitely a sending off. He let his teammates down with that. I would probably give him a 4. I don't think he's Rangers class. I know a lot of people are saying about his skills in the ball and things like that. I just don't think he's anywhere near the level that we need.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm a bit 50-50 with the sending off, because for me, I understand it's high and it looks bad, but because there's no real force in it, I hate that players get sent off for that. And I understand in today's day and age they will, but I don't agree with that at all. Like, I feel like we need to be trying to keep 11v11 on the pitch. It wasn't like a leg breaker, like he's gone in 2 foot with force and went straight through him. Those are he's trying. You can clearly see he's trying to pluck the ball from out the sky, and he just, unfortunately, as his studs on the way down, they sort of.
The only thing I'll add to that is it was a quickness. Now again, I think it was a sending off, but there was a few instances where there were other sending offs. It was a quickness of the referee. He was quite quick to send them off.
I know.
You start to have your doubts about what's going on in a game.
I know, like it's not like he even took his time, or like he just went bang straight away. See you later, and it's like, well, how could you give that red card so quickly, and not on some of the other occasions, especially like the handball incident for the penalty. I mean, that has got to be a yellow card, like every day of the week, you know. And I can understand.
I think it was no. If you don't get a yellow, if you're not getting a yellow card, you can't get a penalty.
Yeah, it's one of those. If you give the penalty, you give the yellow card. I can understand the first incident that he potentially hadn't seen it, but the VAR at that point have got to send him to the monitor. You know, for me, that is a lot of it's down to VAR because they have these still images. They can rewind it. The referee has got a split second to make a decision, and he might not have seen it.
Yeah.
Whereas VAR have got to be telling him that. But for the handball, he's the one who saw it and gave the penalty. He has to give the second yellow card. No excuses there. So yeah, a bit odd. But yeah, I mean, but again, before he got sent off, I was saying on the WhatsApp group stuff, I was like, get this guy off the pitch. We need to make a change. Get the gas man on. He's not doing anything. He's not having any impact whatsoever. He's not exactly, got pace to burn and getting in behind. He's just a bystander. And in this game, out of all games, you cannot have bystanders. And we had too many in that first half. And he was top of the list. Too lightweight, yeah. He's not getting, when you look at Moore, for example, I don't feel like there's a lot of difference physically, but Moore is a lot more aggressive in his approach. He fights for every ball, whereas Asgard doesn't do that. So I'd much rather have Moore playing than Asgard, to be honest. Even though Moore, and I sort of contradict myself a little bit because I don't like the fact that we're playing players on an outright loan over players that are ours because we're not developing them. But at the same time, when the quality levels and the impact is so different, we need to be winning games, essentially, and that's what it boils down to. So I don't feel like we're going to get that from Asgard this season.
It's a simple question. Who's a better player, Moore or Asgard?
Yeah, it's going to be Moore. Yeah. So I would give Asgard a 2 because he got himself sent off, cost us the game, didn't have any impact whatsoever when he was on. So, he's lucky it's not lower, to be fair. So yeah.
Who's next?
Next on the list is Danilo. Now,
I think because Asgard got sent off, that was the reason that Danilo got taken off. The issue I've got with Danilo was he's more a finisher than anything else. He's not really a kind of playmaker. But I would have kept Danilo on and took Chermeti off when that decision was getting made. But I don't think he'd done a lot in the game, to be fair. I probably
no, but I feel like he links better with players around him than Chermeti does. Chermeti's too slow. Like I feel like he gets the ball and it's like he's on ice skates. He's trying to get it under control before he can make a pass. Whereas Danilo, I feel like he'd be better at linking the play, and maybe he's a lot better at like coming short. And then if you get the gas man alongside him, he comes short. You could either play it to his feet, 1-2 and over the top, or he comes short and just play it into the space for the gas man to run into.
The way that the gas man, Gassama and Moore played in the last half hour of the game would have suited Danilo more than it would have suited Chermeti, I think. It was unfortunate that he made a decision. I'm not blaming Danny Röhl for that because it's one of the ones, if he'd have took Chermeti off and kept Danilo on, we might be having the same conversation.
Yeah, I know. So it's a tough one, but
6 anyway. I'm giving him a 6.
Yeah, go back to him. I'm gonna give him a 6 as well, to be honest. I felt sorry for him. I feel like, unfortunately, the chances that we made didn't fall to him because I feel like he would have put them away. Unfortunately, they fell to our next player on the list, which is this guy here, the big man, Chermeti.
I just hope he can prove me wrong because I know he scored a great goal last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. But I just don't see it. I don't see it, and I don't think he's good enough. I'm not doubting he's a trier in any way, but I don't think he's anywhere near the level currently that's expected for a Rangers centre forward. He doesn't look dangerous. He doesn't look. I mean, he looks before when you see the stature of him, he looks like a big dangerous player, but he's not really got it. Celtic coped quite comfortably with him. I thought their defence, and I would give him probably a 6 again. I wouldn't give him any more than that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that'll be a lot generous than what I'm giving him. I see absolutely nothing in this boy, unfortunately. I think he looks like Bambi on ice when he plays. He struggles to get the ball under control, struggles to hold the ball up to get others in play. He slips about the pitch a lot. I don't know if he needs to wear longer studs or something, but it seems like he can't control his own feet, let alone football. Miss sitters which really, and in these games, you need to
So
score
you have
those
to get in
goals.
target. If he gets him in target and the goalkeeper saves him, that's a different argument.
That's different, but hit the target. Just hit the target, because then the goalkeeper might save it, it might rebound to the likes of Danilo or something for a tap in. But if you just completely miss the target, then you're no good to anyone. So, I can't forgive those 2 missed chances, and I'm going to give him a 2. I thought he was I thought the fact that he stayed on as long as he did, that I feel like was a mistake as well by Danny Röhl. He should have been the one off at half time. Yeah, and I would have even brought Miovski on at that point, because I feel like in a game like that, you need those runners in behind. If we had the likes of Miovski, the Gasman, etc., running in behind, stretching that defence, we would have got more joy in the midfield areas.
And by the way, back to what I was saying earlier on, it still won't surprise me if he starts Schmidt Thursday night.
I will cry. If he starts Schmidt on Thursday, I'm going to lose my head, because I cannot. He's just not good enough. At the end of the day, he is not good enough. I don't know how many games he's played for the club now, 11 games or whatever. And, he scored a goal. I mean, and when he scored that goal as well, giving that to the fans, like,
I know.
And then what have you done? You just missed 2 sitters in a cup final. So, you scored a goal against Killy, which the goalkeeper should have saved. And now you've missed 2 sitters. So, and which it hasn't cost us the game, but it has contributed to us not winning the game massively, because these sort of games, all about sort of momentum and trying to wrestle that momentum and try to, put the game to bed as quickly as possible, ideally. And missing 2 big chances like that, where we could have really, progressed forward with it. I felt like,
very
he was a big part as to why we didn't win the game, along with Asgard. Those 2 idiots for me. I'm literally at my sort of, my last bit of patience with the both of them. I feel like I haven't seen anything from them. I feel like I haven't seen the desire, the fight in them that I need to see from every single player that puts on that shirt. So for me, a 2 alongside his mate Asgard. Moving on to the next one then. And now we're moving on to the subs. The Gasman.
So he came on too late in the game, but I thought he had a good game. He's the type of player that should be playing in that game. Semi-final at Hampden, you want to take the game to your enemy, and you want to create as many chances as you can for your 2 strikers. And by the time he came on, Rangers were out of puff by the time he came on, and he added a bit of life to his.
Yeah.
So he had a good game, and I'd probably give him a 7.
Yeah. I probably would agree with the 7, to be honest, because I feel like you say, he gave us a bit of life. I feel like we were in the attack, and that was my worry when I first saw the lineup. I was like, I don't see anything in that forward, in that front 3, that's going to give me any confidence that we're going to be creating chances from open play. I thought the best, the chances that we're going to create are going to be from set pieces and try to use our physicality, because I just didn't see anything. But when you bring the Gasman on, you have that person that can run with the ball, and cause a bit of chaos in their back line. It's huge, just not just when he gets the ball, but they then have to worry about him. I didn't feel like they had to worry about Schmidt or worry about Asgard. So they got to play with more confidence and more authority, and push us high up the pitch, because they didn't have that to worry about. But when Gasman comes on, and maybe that is the reason why the whole second half went the way that it did, because they actually had someone to worry about, and they're defensively all over the shop, as it is, but we allowed them to get away with it in that first half.
He added a bit of spark there, but didn't have in the first half.
Yeah, he did. And I just wish he started, and I feel like that's what I need to see. I need to see him start, because he is someone that you want to get as many minutes as possible on the pitch, because he creates something.
What I would say as well, the last 2 games he's played, he didn't play well at all in the last 2 games in Scotland and the Scottish League. But he's a winger. Wingers, that all the good wingers, they go for him and they go back on it, and the really good wingers come back onto form in the big games. And I thought the game would have suited him perfect for that.
Yeah, and I feel like, but it's a games against them. That's where we need to have pace on the pitch, especially against the likes of Ralston, etc. And I know Tierney wasn't playing, but when Tierney comes on, I mean, he's not been the same Tierney that he the first stint. I can't remember what their left back's called actually. The one they got from South America. I don't know, but these players, we need to get at them. We need to get at them, and back two of Scales, and I mean Scales is a bit of a bomb scare as well. The amount of times he gives the ball away, but we need people and players on the pitch to capitalise on that. When you win the ball back up the pitch, you need to have a through ball into the likes of the Gasman. You know, that 1-on-1 that he missed, and again, you know, he should be scoring that, but at least we had him in positions to be able to make those runs and people to then give him the ball in those areas, which we just did not have in the first half. Everything was in front of their defence. We need runners in behind in these type of games, and I hope Danny Röhl has learnt his lesson in a way that and he doesn't play that sort of front three again against a team like that.
Going overall ground, that's what I said at the start of the show. He picked the wrong team, and that's one.
Yeah. So I'll probably go and give him, I think, a 7. We gave him a 7, didn't we? I think that's probably about right for the Gasman. Right, next one then. I'll add more to the stage.
I thought Moore had a great game. I'd love to have seen him coming on a lot earlier in the match. I thought he looked dominant, full of ideas, full of energy, not afraid to look. He lost the ball a few times and won it back right away. Not afraid to make a challenge, making a good challenge. His all-round style of football and his the last 3 weeks has been so much better. I thought he was one of our best players on the park, to be fair. He wasn't long enough to get a 9, so I'm going to give him an 8. But I'm starting to realise why we brought him to the club for a year. He's got so much potential. But you need to with a player like him, you need somebody that can finish, because he's creating chances for players. But as we've seen at the weekend, we didn't have that.
No, I feel like, in contrast to Asgard, I feel like like I said before, he doesn't seem to have it like mentally or and physically for this league. Whereas Moore seems to have that. He understands the level of aggression needed to play for this club. You need to be able to put yourself about there and not be bullied off the ball constantly and work hard.
A British style player, right?
But he has that, but he also has ability as well. He's got that technical ability.
He's noticed something he's got that I've just noticed in his game this weekend. He's got that ability when he's got the ball, if he gets kicked and they put him up in the air, he doesn't fall and look for the free kick. He bounces back up and tries to win the ball back again.
Yeah,
and I like that in a player. Yeah, I like that.
Which is what you want, and which is, I mean, when we had Fabio Silva here, he's the opposite to that. Where Fabio Silva would always go down, and it's like, well, we're not about that in this league. You need to be.
And fair play. He's only a young boy. It came at a bad time when he could have put his head down. But fair play, he's played for the jersey.
Yeah, and he's working hard, and you can tell that obviously, the club does mean something to him. Because like he said when he first came, a lot of his family members are Rangers supporters as well as Spurs. So you can tell that in his performances as well. So I think it was one of his best games, potentially the best game I've seen him play. And he had a good ball over the top as well at one point, which the Gasman ran onto. And was unlucky not to get a shot away earlier. It was a good tackle from Scales, to be fair. But yeah, he's got that quality, where he can get the ball with his back towards goal, turn, ride a challenge or two, get his pass off, and find a free man. Which I feel like we need someone to do that with a bit of urgency, which Moore could bring in that position. I feel like he was wasted that wide, but now that we've changed the formation up, I would like to see him play more, especially ahead of Asgard. So a 7 for me, the same as a Gasman. I'll probably give him a 7.
Fair enough.
Next one then, Miofsky. Thoughts?
I'm not really sure. I can't really think of anything in the game he done great, to be honest. The game is over really by the time he comes on. Rangers were blown out with arse, playing with the 10 men so long. He's a trier. He really needs to get a couple of goals under his belt. He needs a few regular games, and whether he's going to get that, I don't know. But it's maybe time to give him a chance again to get the goals. I'd probably give him a 4, to be honest.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, I thought he was a little bit anonymous in the game when he came on, but I mean, it's a tough ask.
It's a hard time to come on. That's what I'm saying.
It's a hard time to come on. I wish he was on from the start.
I'm not criticising him for that.
Yeah, it was a hard time for him to come on, and I felt like he ran about a bit. But again, there was a moment where he was like hesitant to get the ball in their box, but Cassius Michael then like parried it away or whatever. And I felt like if he was a bit quicker, he would have been able to get to that ball before Cassius Michael got a touch on it and potentially got the penalty or at least played someone else in. It was like he was just hesitating, waiting for the contact rather than just getting the ball. And if the contact comes, but then get it back in play for someone to be able to get a shot on target potentially. There are certain moments where I would just like him to be a bit more switched on. Sometimes I feel like he's on his heels a bit too much, and not gambling. But he does like to run about and try to at least make himself busy. I just want to see him become our number one striker and find a way in this new system that's going to work for him and find a partnership with him and maybe Danilo and Moore, or Danilo and the Gasman, or Gasman and Moore sort of playing behind him. I would like to see something like that. But I definitely want to see him start ahead of Schmidt from now on. But I won't go as low as you, but I'll go a 5 out of 10 for Miovski. Moving on, we've got Aaron's. What do you think?
Not a big fan of the boy, but I thought it was one of his better games. He's starting to under Röhl, he seems to understand what he's supposed to be doing in his position. It was a tough time again when he came on. I thought he had quite a good game, to be fair, but not enough time to impress. But he's changing my mind a wee bit. I think there's possibly a player in him. We've got the right management team now. I think there's a player in him, but the maximum would give him a 5. I'll give him the benefit of doubt and give him a 5 for the game. But again, the game was drifting away from us by the time he comes on.
I know. It was one of those. I feel like he did put a shift in though, and there was one moment in the extra time where he really showed like his pace up that left-hand side, which I want to see a lot more.
It's the first time I've seen that from him. I
know. I was like, no, I didn't know he was that quick. I knew he was quick, but I didn't know he was that quick. And I would like to see that a lot more often. Because that's definitely a tool that we can utilize, especially now that there's going to be space in those areas, in the wing back areas. I would like to see that more. But again, he came on for extra time, and it was a tough shift in extra time. With the way the game was going, everyone else was blowing out their ass because they'd been playing with 10 men since the 38th minute. So I'll probably give him a 5 out of 10. A good shift, but it was a hard ask. Joe Rothwell, then thoughts?
I don't see anything in him. I keep hearing these comments that he was a good player with Leeds, which he probably was. I've not got any comment on that. I've not seen him playing with Leeds. He just doesn't look. It looks like somebody for the pub, basically, to me, that they've ran out of subs and get somebody for the local boozer and get him on. He just looks unfit. For one, he looks unfit, and he looks a bit lost, and he doesn't look like he's got much control of the ball. I don't really see much in him. I would give him a 2. I don't think he really contributed anything to the game, to be fair, other than just making up the numbers.
Oh, that's hilarious. I wouldn't be that harsh. I don't think he contributed much, but I also feel like by that point, I mean, what minute did he come on?
That's what I'm saying. He never done enough in the game to really merit any more than a 3 or 4.
No, but I'd probably give him an average 5, just because he didn't do anything that makes me think, what on earth are you doing? Why are you even on the pitch? But
this is my problem with him. He doesn't seem to do anything. It's just like a regular guy running about a park.
I know. And that's been his problem since he's joined. Like, his
best days are over. That's a definite. Aye.
But that's why he's also out of the team at the minute, and he's only coming on in.
The best description I would have of him just now is there's very little to say. There's nothing I've seen from him.
No. Okay. Well, on that note, there's very little to say. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Ant-Man. I think he's the final one as well. I don't think I've missed anyone off.
Came on far too late in the game, but you could see that he was trying different things. He was trying to get up the wing quick. He was trying to beat a few players at times. Unfortunately, by the time he was doing that, the game was over, in my book. I thought he had it was one of his better games, to be fair. But when you see him, when you see what he was doing for the last 5 minutes of the game and trying, I can understand why we signed him. But he needs to be more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of good crosses that he put in, dangerous crosses into the box, which you want to see more of. I mean, he got 15 assists last season in the Eredivisie, so you want to see more of that that type of Ant-Man. But I always find him such an awkward player to watch. You know, like it's like he does like 100 little steps every time he gets the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems like the way he plays football is
He's got his own style.
unique. He's got his own style, which just it takes getting used to.
I think he's the type of player. He needs to be happy. He needs to be mentally happy on the park, and it's going to be a project for him. But I'm not ruling him out in the future. It just wasn't long enough at that time in the game to give him too many points. I'll give him 4 or 5. Let me think. I'll give him 5 because I thought the crosses he put in were at least half decent, and he done his best for for limited time he had.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5. I struggled to see how he fits into this team with the current formation
Squad
that
player.
we're going to play. I would like to see him in that sort of 10 position to see if that's going to be, because with his ability and his vision and stuff, and obviously, like I say, he got quite a few assists in Eredivisie last season. It could prove to be quite a good place for him in the team, but I haven't really seen it yet. So I would like to potentially see him in that position. But yeah, he wasn't on the pitch long enough to really judge him. So just a 5, an average 5 for him.
Yeah.
And that's the end. That I think we've covered every single player, all of the players.
Oh, that's fair enough. So just to wrap up for the night, I'll just say, but after what I've seen the last 2 weeks, they've all had a chance, all the players. I think we need to look at building the midfield around Raskin. Forgetting names now. Cameron. I think Cameron needs to start featuring on a weekly basis. And I've got your man's name. They'll get that many players we've mentioned tonight.
Baron, I know.
Baron, who was going to say, so Baron couldn't play the weekend and he was man of the match last week. So those 3 players, Raskin, Baron and Cameron, are the 3 players. 2 guys that know all about Rangers, and Raskin knows he's been here long enough. That's the 3 midfield that I would be building the team around for the next few months. I think the boy Cameron needs a chance, and we're certainly seeing what Baron can do over the last couple of days. All the other midfielders are all right players, but these guys have got a potential. And the boy Moore, he's proved me wrong over the last few weeks. I would be playing him regularly. So that's a young base, the base of a young team at the heart of the park. And hopefully things get better. It's going to be a hard game. We'll talk about Thursday night on tomorrow night's show, but we just have to dust ourselves down. I wouldn't hold my breath for the club doing anything regarding fighting our cause. Unfortunately, but if I'm wrong with that, I'll take my hat off. I've not got a hat on it, and if I did have a hat on, I'd take it after him. But that's my opinion tonight anyway. I'm not disappointed, but I'm trying to move on.
Yeah, I think that's all we can do. We've got to look forward. It was a tough one to take yesterday, but we have seen positive signs now from some of these players and from the way that we changed our attitude when we came out in the second half and how we play with 10 men. I think that's definitely some positives that we need to cling on to, and hopefully they can come out and put performance in against Roma on Thursday, which is going to be such a tough game. But it's going to be really hard. But let's try to keep this some sort of momentum going. We've got Dundee away at the weekend. If we win the next league game, and I'm not too bothered about Europe this season because I think I don't feel like we've got much hope in getting through. If you look at the teams we still have to play, but I just want to see a fighting Rangers side. Players that care about playing for the club and bring that sort of momentum into Dundee, which is our next biggest game, really.
We've got 3 very winnable league games coming up over the next month. 3 very winnable games. Do you want to quickly read out any comments that were interesting before we finish?
Yeah, so Betty McKenzie just think that they booked Barron so he couldn't play. Yeah, well, potentially, just trying to think. I can't remember the tackle when he got his booking against Hibs and whether that was whether it was a deserved yellow or not. But
I never realised at the time. I was only midweek I realised.
I didn't, and I don't know if Danny. But then again, I was thinking I don't know if Danny Röhl realised that before the game. Also, and he might have taken him off earlier. But
if he didn't play so well midweek, we wouldn't be saying that. To be fair.
Yeah, I know. But he did play so well, and I think he's going to be. And I put a picture up on one of the other videos that we did last week of just the importance of him during that game against Hibs in terms of his pressing stats, etc. And I feel like the way Danny Röhl wants to play with intensity, I feel like he's going to be a big player for us, and we need to make sure that he's available for these big games because I think he would have made a difference again. yesterday. So he's definitely going to start against Roma. It's a perfect sort of game for him. But like you say, I'd also like to see if we can fit in Lyle Cameron into the team as well, because players like that work hard, and that understand what the club's about. I feel like you get that extra mile or two out of them during the game. So
yeah.
But I think for me, it's just let's focus on Thursday, Roma, and just see what happens in that game. Just show a lot of heart and desire, and you never know. We've beaten teams of the caliber of Roma over the last few years, so it's not out of the equation.
Aye. Well, it's been a good night.
Thursday's the biggest game. Sunday's the biggest game against Dundee, because, like you say, we've got Dundee, Livy, and Falkirk, our next 3 league games. Win all 3 of them, and we'll see where we're at.
Aye, we've got all night tomorrow night. We can talk about that anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot back up the road. I've been at the studio for a few hours, but no, good content tonight. And onwards and upwards.
Yes, on to Thursday. Roma at home.
See you all tomorrow night.
Yes. Cheers all. Thank you all for joining and for commenting, etc. in the comments. And please like, share, and subscribe. Help the channel out. That would be much appreciated. And we'll see you on the next one, which will be tomorrow. So, see you then, and bye for now.